Hello again and welcome to another in the series History of the Development of Jamaican Music. And before I proceed, I just want to make it known that I do not own the rights to the music that we're playing. We needed to tell the story. My compliments and regards to players of instruments and singers of songs who have recorded these epic pieces or epic tracks that you will hear in this piece today. Now we want to feature today a man who's known as one of the pioneers in the development of the music in Jamaica, the one and only Arthur Duke Reid, who was known for his Trojan sound system. Now Duke Reid was born in the parish of Portland, in the town of Port Antonio, on July 26, 1915, and as an adolescent he would move into Kingston, where he joined the police force and was known to have patrolled some of the roughest areas of Kingston at the time. You're listening to the great Alton Ellis there in the background, one of the products of the Duke Reid's Treasure Isle label, which we will feature a little more down in the program. But Duke Reid's wife ran a liquor store on Pink Lane, which a combination of a liquor store and haberdashery, and they named the store the Treasure Isle Liquor Store. Now, over time, the business outgrew the location at Pink Lane, and so they moved to Bond Street, where Duke Reid joined the business after serving 10 years in the police, and he set up a sound system which they use as a promotional vehicle for pulling crowds into the store during the days. Now his later nemesis, Clement Dodd, was a good friend at the time, and Dodd had an ear and a liking for the music, so he would come over to Treasure Isle Liquor Store to try his hand, and they playing a few sides on Duke Reid's sound system from time to time. Now the sound became known as the Trojan sound system, largely because Duke Reid at times would pack up the sound on the back of his Trojan motor truck and drive it out across the island to play at different venues that he had dates for. And of course, as I said before, the sound basically drew its name off the truck, which was called a Trojan truck, and so they just dubbed the sound the Trojan sound based on its entry, as it was called the Mighty Trojan to be exact. Now Reid had a big preference for blues and jazz music, a little R&B, and in time he started hosting a program on the radio, Radio Jamaica, RJR at the time, called the Treasure Isle's time. And during that program he would feature the latest in R&B and jazz and blues on the program. And of course, by this time he had his little record shop, Treasure Isle Records, down at the same location, and used it as an advertising vehicle, not only for the haberdashery business, but also for his recording business as well. Now, Duke Reid's biggest nemesis at the time would have been the great Tommy Wong, from the sound system called Tom the Great Sebastian. Now, Tommy Wong was a half black man, half Chinese, who operated, he was an electrician, and he also operated a haberdashery and wholesale in downtown Kingston as well. The two would clash from time to time, and contrary to public sentiment that Duke Reid mashed down Tommy Wong's sound most of the time, that's not exactly true. There was a little period of dominance between 1956 and 1958 where Duke Reid's Trojan sound was declared the champion sound for those 3 years. But that was due not only to Duke Reid's ability to find big tune, but due to some unscrupulous acts which Duke Reid was not unknown for. He beat up the other soundman and players, take with the music, or you just use bullet tactics and run them out of the dance, that kind of thing. Yet Reid nevertheless had a lot of music that Jamaican people like, and by the late 50s, Coxsone had now come into the music business with his Sir Coxsone's downbeat sound system. But Duke Reid, as a dancehall DJ, was quite flamboyant, cut a strong pose. He was tall, stocky, because he was a policeman. He was known to have his firearm, and as you know, leaving the police, he was a man who was known to be toting around his firearm, and it's not unusual to see him at his dancehall session with his gun stuffed in his waist. Sometimes, as the scribe said, he would even have a machete or a hand grenade, which was part of that imposing, driving fear kind of a technique. And we kind of wonder now when we see the kind of fierce, almost violent rivalry between sound system. But you know, it's interesting to know that in the 1950s, going into the early 1960s, it was a feature of the dancehall at the time. Now, as the rivalry between the sound systems increased, it became even more important for them to find music. And Duke Reid was known to go overseas to go pick up new tune, and on his way, and he brought them back into the island. He would basically scratch out the labels, a feature that became increasingly a part of the music business. Tommy Wong did it. Coxsone was also known for that. In fact, there's an anecdote that there was a clash set up between Coxsone and Duke Reid, and Coxsone basically got wind of some new tune Coxsone had some new tune that he had planned to play to basically mash down Duke Reid's sound, and Duke Reid learned about the tunes. And when the dance started, Duke Reid basically decided to play first. And what he did is just play out all of Coxsone's new tune and basically flatten Coxsone. So Coxsone had to eventually kind of have no tune now to make no big impact. So he had to literally, after a while, lock off and go home. That was the kind of approach. But again, because of that rivalry, it became increasingly important that we started to produce our own music. And I stated in an earlier video that by this time you now had a lot of talent that was coming out from the talent competitions. We had a lot more recording professionals who had come into the business other than Stanley Motors and the people at Federal Records. RJR had its own recording studio. 1959 Jamaica Broadcasting Corporation opened, and with that they also added a recording studio as well. And between 59 and 1962, Duke Reid, who had now been recording very heavily, added a number of big names, well-known names that have grown us over the years under his belt during the time. People like the Derek Morgan, Derek Harriot's Jiving Juniors. Over time, they added to that with Justin Hines and the Dominoes, people like Stranger Cole, and so granted, Stranger Cole known largely for his ska music, but it was Duke Reid who was now pushing, by the time we got into the mid-1960s, was now pushing a lot of the rock steady music, which had kind of slowed down, and increased his own dominance in the industry at the time. Coxsone, we are told, was not particularly fond of the slower rock steady beat. He had a much stronger preference, largely because of having the people like the Scatterlights members as his studio backing band. They played a lot more ska, but the ska era had begun to wane. Rocksteady became the thing, and of course, with people like John Holt, who had now joined Treasure Isle stables, we were hearing this song you hear in the background, Wear You to the Ball. That became the standard at Treasure Isle. In fact, Treasure Isle recorded the great Hugh at Blackford. You hear me there in the background, chicka bow, wow, wow, and the Wear You to the Ball rhythm. But some of the other stalwarts that you were hearing, you were getting a lot of the seminal rocksteady now coming from the Treasure Isle studio. You're hearing there in the background Dobby Dobson's Loving Papa, a seminal rocksteady tune at the time. He recorded people like Phyllis Dillon, Alton Ellis, who subsequently left Coxson's Treasure Isle, left Coxson's Studio One and joined the Treasure Isle thing. And some of Alton Ellis's biggest sides at that time, Dance Crasher in particular, was recorded on the Treasure Isle label at the time. He recorded people like the Brent Dow and the Melodians, and just to give you a taste of Brent Dow, God rest his soul, he featured heavily at Treasure Isle label. Here you're listening to You've Caught Me Baby. Just to give you a little taste. Phyllis Dillon as well did a couple of sides with him. Perfidia, Don't Touch Me Tomato, among others. The Ethiopians were some of the other groups that recorded with Treasure Isle, but just to demonstrate his dominance in that rock steady era. And you know, this is where the music is coming from. We have to recognize the talent and the contribution where they are. Duke Reid was subsequently recognized by the government as for his contribution to the music, and he was subsequently awarded an Order of Distinction. But give a listen to I wanted to give a listen to Phyllis Dillon, Don't Touch Me Tomato. Here it goes. Having a little issue here with my record player. But anyway, this is Jamaican music. We wanna big up the people who have made a contribution, and so over time I wanna put out these bits and pieces of the history of the music. Ban is of no value unless we recognize him in his own country, and I am very, very big on that. We sometimes don't pay enough attention to the contributors and the thing. This is also Phyllis Dillon. We know the song Hanging on the Wall by which came up largely in the reggae era, but this was Phyllis Dillon's version of the song. So, this is, again, just want to thank you for spending time with us today. History of the development of the Jamaican music. And I wanted to, if you like the program, you like the pieces, subscribe to the channel. Also want to encourage you to go to my website at yardabroad.com. That's www.yardabroad.com, and look at the offerings that we have there. We're featuring today my reggae shirts. This is one of my new designs on a sweatshirt, and this is available on my website. In the back it says here Rhythm of Jamaica, and at the front reggae. In fact, with the big concert coming up in March, this is going to be a big item. You want to go to see the King Buju on his re-entry into the music scene, and I would encourage you pick up a couple of these, share with your friends. Until next time, this is Richard Blackford saying thanks for joining me, and have a wonderful new year.